All right, with the market's kind of quiet, let me talk a little politics now. Actually, it will have an impact on the market. So first off, let me start with the Italian referendum that's coming up on December 4th. Okay, very important, and already a lot of nervousness and worry and concern leading up to this election, and especially because the last two major big time elections, we saw some really disruptive things happen which were not predicted at all. And I'm talking about Brexit back in June, when nobody thought that thing would pass. And then, of course, the U.S. presidential election with Donald Trump winning. Okay. The polls were all wrong going into that thing. And more importantly, the pundits and investors were wrong. The pundits were wrong about what the effect on the markets would be. And the investors, most investors and traders, listened to those analysts. If you had listened to me, you would have done very, very well, because I said that the fears about Brexit and the fears about Trump were totally unwarranted. I said fade the results, and that's exactly what happened. Now, leading up to this Italian election, we go into it with this. Now it's sort of a new world where the old order, the establishment, the globalists, right? They have been seriously knocked for a loop here between Brexit and the Trump victory. So going into the Italian referendum, where basically it's going to be another one of these decisions: do you want to go with the establishment, or do you want to throw the establishment out? So a yes vote on the referendum would mean a yes for reforming the government of Matteo Renzi. He wants to reduce or even eliminate the upper house of parliament, gives him more control over the government, lets him do the things he wants to do. He is a pro-Europe, a globalist. Okay, so that would be the establishment maintaining power if it's a yes vote. The no vote would keep the government constituted the way it is right now. And ultimately, the fear there is it would bring on a Brexit type of, eventually a Brexit type of vote for Italy, the third largest economy in Europe, to pull out of the euro this time. It'd be even more consequential, I think, than Brexit, because Britain had its own sovereign currency, the pound. But if Italy were to pull out of the euro, or even the hint or suggestion that it was going in that direction, I mean, the euro would drop. You'd see it at parity to the dollar instantly. You'd see it well below, and possibly even go down to the low, what was like when it was first, the low that it hit right after it was first started trading. I think it got down to like 87 or 86 cents to the U.S. dollar. So here's what I think. Because, the pendulum, when it comes to politics, the pendulum always swings back and forth. And you had these two big victories for the anti-globalists and the anti-Europe and the anti-establishment and the anti-everything. And it was a demoralizing, huge defeat for the opposite, the liberals, the neoliberals, the establishment. I think it swings back. I think Europe, I think Renzi gets his yes vote. I mean, I usually don't like to bet on these outcomes. I like to wait and see what the outcome is and then make my moves. But I think this way, this one, you're going to see it swing back. And one of the reasons I think that is because, I don't think anyone in Europe wants to leave the euro, to be quite honest with you. I don't see any polls indicating that people understand that it is the euro that is causing them all these problems. Okay, they've all given up their currency sovereignty, and when you do that, you become a debtor like everybody else. And you have the biggest country, the biggest economy, Germany, that is dictating all the rules and kind of, driving economic activity in its own direction, impoverishing everybody else. So, I remember a couple of years ago when Greece was really looking very, very bad. You had people literally setting themselves on fire in Athens, The government did nothing. The people, it did not sway the people's desire to stick with the euro. They don't understand. And I think most people in Europe, because I have not seen any polls. If you have, let me know. But I have not seen any polls where people say, by a majority, we want to go back to whatever, the drachma, the lira, the peseta, the French franc. I just don't see it. They want change. They want this anti-Europe position, but they don't want to give up the euro. So, you can have your anti-Europe position all you want. If you don't have your own currency, there's not much you can do. You're still borrowing in somebody else's currency, all right? It makes you very vulnerable. All right, that's my first point, political point. My second political point is that if you look at Trump, remember going into the election, for 2 months before the election, anything that looked positive for Trump, stocks got hammered. All the pundits were out there telling you how Trump is going to be a disaster for the economy. The night of the election, when it started to show that he was creeping up and gaining on Hillary Clinton in the results, the Dow went down 800 points, and then he won, and we've been on a tear going up ever since, and all of a sudden everybody's opinion turned on a dime. That's not rational. You can't have an opinion and then suddenly, Trump was so terrible for everybody before, not for me. I wasn't saying that. But now he's wonderful, he's fantastic. But if you look at who Trump has been bringing into his cabinet so far, and we don't have too many economic picks, although the people that are on his economic transition team, those are not good people. You have first of all the ones he has picked. This guy like Price today he's going in Health and Human Services. This guy is a big austerity guy. He's one of these deficit hawks. He's a Paul Ryan, big time Paul Ryan follower. He's for privatizing Medicare. He's against the expansion of Medicaid and government subsidies. So this guy's a big time budget hawk. He's a big time austerity guy. Okay. You got Mike Pence, who I happen to like his temperament and personality. That guy, he was a big-time austerity guy in his state of Indiana, too. All right, you have others in there who are of a similar, vein. I believe that they're, more or less these austerity type of people. Look at Trump's infrastructure plan, the public-private partnerships. Now, this is a dopey plan. I'm sorry. All it does is it gives taxpayer-backed guarantees to billionaires and hedge fund guys to go out and build the infrastructure that they want and charge fees for it, right? There has to be, they said, a revenue stream attached to it, a profit stream attached to it. So, how is that? They're going to build what they want. This is not refurbishing and rebuilding the roads and bridges and tunnels of America. It's you're giving a handful of guys financial backing from taxpayers, essentially, for them to go out, kind of free of charge. They're getting the money for free to build these roads to make, millions and millions in profits for themselves. That's not going to do it. That's not going to do it. So all the and I voted for Trump. Let me just be full disclosure here. I voted for Trump. I believed him. But it's turning out that he looks like an establishment guy. It looks like a lot of his stuff are, deficit hawkish. You got people in there who want to privatize Social Security. You got people in there who want to privatize Medicare. How's that going to help the working people who he campaigned for? All that stuff. Once you do privatizations, by the way, he's talking about Wilbur Ross, bringing him in as Treasury Secretary. I did a video here about Wilbur Ross. The guy got massacred in his hedge fund. He's not an MMT guy. He doesn't understand. He got massacred in his hedge fund. He took all the bad positions like all the other idiots, and now he's going to be running Treasury. So, everybody's very euphoric about Trump. What have I said so many times? You got to be a contrarian. You got to go against the, the mass opinion. It's very curious what's going on. So anyway, that's a little bit of my political update for now. Bye.